is an episode in season 3 of SpongeBob that you can't watch anymore because of this scene here.
Frilly things! We hit the jackpot!
5 years ago, this episode was banned twice, and it seemed that some people didn't know. So why was it banned? What is the context for the scene anyway? And how did this episode get banned twice? And most importantly, is the ban on this episode fair? I wanted to go back 5 years ago, around this time, 2021. I posted a video titled, I watched the banned SpongeBob episode so you don't have to. Today, we know this episode to be Quarantine Crab. And according to this New York Times article, it was not the only episode banned at the time. The episode, referring to Quarantine Crab, quote, was never put on the schedule to be sensitive to the pandemic outbreak last year, Mr. Bittler said on Tuesday. Another episode, Mid-Life Crustacean, was removed from rotation on the network in 2018, following a standards review in which we determined some story elements were not kid-appropriate. The second episode mentioned in this article was the scene you saw earlier. It was placed on Amazon in what's described as a technical error, but has since been removed a second time, along with its sister episode, The Great Snail Race, which, to be clear, while removed from Amazon, The Great Snail Race is on Paramount Plus at the time of recording this. I'm quite conflicted about the situation, but to explain why, let's look at the whole context for this scene.
Pearl, do you think I'm old?
Well, of course I do, but that's okay. Daddies are supposed to be old.
But I'm still cool, right?
Krabs would spend most of this episode trying to recapture that youthful spirit he had, a relatable journey that everyone either are or will go through. We get some iconic visuals such as Mr. Krabs swallowing a pill or the left and right signal scene, both of which still as funny as when I saw this the first time. This is important because Mr. Krabs is in a vulnerable mindset of wanting to feel young, which explains some of the wacky stuff he'll do later on in this episode.
Mommy, my Krabby Patty tastes funny.
Well, no wonder. It's all old and dried out, like that man right there.
Bold words for someone who looks like Patrick's left leg. It seems that everyone is giving Mr. Krabs a hard time, a little bit of commentary on how society treats old people, and right when Mr. Krabs can't take any more, he overhears that SpongeBob and Patrick are going out to party. And when I say overhear, I mean, you would have to be on the other side of the ocean to not hear these two right now.
Are you ready to...
SpongeBob, Patrick, do you mind?
Let's continue this conversation in private, Patrick. I think some people are eavesdropping.
Well, how rude of some people!
So to explain why I'm conflicted, as I watch this episode, I think about all the jokes that people won't get to hear anymore. I would like to believe that there are new SpongeBob fans made with each new episode, and there will be a generation that has no idea what this classic episode is because of that one scene I showed earlier. At least with Quarantine Crab, while banned at the time, it eventually came out. So does it make it lost media if I have the episode? Does it make it lost media if you have this episode on a physical DVD? Probably not. Given that secondary markets exist to resell SpongeBob DVDs, I guess it's not fully lost media to the public. I'll let you guys debate on if it is lost media or not, but what I can say is that it is media that over time, if it stays banned, may become obscure. Speaking of time, it's time to get into Mr. Krabs' wacky shenanigans, but how did he even get convinced to look for panties?
I couldn't help overhearing your big plans. And I was wondering if you had room for one more crazy do tonight, huh?
So it's time to partay, and there's something really interesting in this episode I want to speak about before we get to the scene of the hour here. The comedy in these scenes is the contrast between how SpongeBob and Patrick do things that are cool to them, but not societally cool, and Mr. Krabs wants to feel cool amongst society. So they're having two different conversations here. I remember a time when playing video games was not societally cool. I remember a time when being on the internet was not societally cool. Even with podcasts, it was an app on everyone's iPhone, but it wasn't societally cool to make one or listen to them until quite recently. The thing with being societally cool is that it always changes and shifts with each generation, so you're essentially fighting a moving target that you can't really predict. What I appreciate here is that SpongeBob and Patrick consider these things cool to them because it's fun to them, and that's a way easier lifestyle to sustain. With that said, SpongeBob and Patrick in universe, to be clear, are not cool.
Hey, you guys must be lost. Doofus Drive is around the corner.
Doofus Drive is around the corner? Well, I know it's 2002, but come on. We got Roger from Doug who did a few bicep curls and thinks that he's somebody now. Why did your hair look like they filled a Chia Pet with Play-Doh? And let's look at this race car. First of all, the wheels aren't even on the car. The exhaust shoots right into your face. And let's be clear here. He needed the nitro boost just to catch up to SpongeBob and Patrick pedaling a bike. Just the sheer idea of it being late night with your girl and you decide to spend any amount of time hassling a bike rider is the lamest thing since Discord giving you a push notification for someone changing their status. By the way, also plugging my Discord. Let's talk about this specific feeling that Mr. Krabs has before they reach a building called The Wash.
I have to tell you, boys, I'm a little nervous. I haven't been, on the scene for quite a while now.
When certain people of the community want SpongeBob to come back to this, what I can agree with them on is that I do enjoy that we see a different side of Mr. Krabs. Yes, he is still the cheapskate who owns the Krusty Krab and is longtime rivals with Plankton, but for this episode, he doesn't have to be just that, and it wasn't confusing as a kid to not see him play that one role. By the way, remember when people used to think Mr. Krabs wasn't saying the word port in this scene here?
Hello, gang. SpongeBob's back.
Let's party! Any party next door?
The fact that this episode even has history online before the ban makes the ban even more impactful. So as you can tell, I think the jokes are great. I like that we get a different side of Mr. Krabs, and turns out we get a fun adventure speaking about the different versions to interpret what's cool. They like watching their reflection in a laundromat, picking up trash under the highway, chilling in an inflatable pool, and other things not generally considered to be societally cool. But you know what's funny? The coolest friend that I would have would be the person who I can game with, do community service with, learn with, and no matter where you go, it's a fun time. Unfortunately, this is not fun for Mr. Krabs, calling SpongeBob and Patrick lame, ironically being the lame one here because SpongeBob and Patrick were having a great time, and he had decided to insult them for not being cool enough to his non-existent standard. And it's here where we get to the scene that I showed earlier in this video.
I guess you're gonna miss the panty raid. You're talking about girls, right? And you're talking about raiding their dressers for their underpants, right? Oh, yeah.
There's two schools of thought when it comes to this following scene, and I think it's pretty convenient that one of my videos prior to this spoke about a Gumball episode that involved Gumball expressing his badness in an unintentional way. You have the people who think what this may do for children and consider this all to be inappropriate, like that spokesperson earlier. Then you have people such as within that subreddit before who say things like, I really think that the ban was a big overreaction. It was fine when we watched it as kids. I don't think it's that big of a deal for kids to watch now. Maybe it's the empathetic side of me, but I do understand both sides here. Was I writing late letters to Santa asking for Batty Gumball to appear before Christmas? No. Have I ever wanted to watch a future SpongeBob episode that involved raiding panties? No. But at the same time, even watching this episode multiple times as a child, teen, and adult, I never raided panties. I never twerked. Are you saying that all black and white beings look the same? That's not me. So yes, as you've already seen, this is how we get to Mr. Krabs raiding his mother's home for panties.
Woo-hoo! You finally came through for me, boys. I feel young again.
Eugene?
Mother?
What are you doing with my bloomers?
For those who think scenes like this aged poorly, there's 3 points that I have that make me disagree. Firstly, it's not that SpongeBob doesn't dive into territory that would be weird if you made it weird before, such as SpongeBob being naked a lot of times. I mean, Patrick was practically naked in the first movie. Well, the action itself isn't as relevant as it might have been. Shouldn't that be more of a reason to not worry about its impact? Secondly, SpongeBob is a comedy, and I don't tend to look at these episodes morally. Even in episodes I considered the worst, my main issue is the way that the characters act doesn't make me laugh, they annoy me. The most important point though, is that even if you did look at this action morally, in a comedy show. Mr. Krabs gets punished for his actions, which showcases the exact opposite of endorsing it. It's how I felt when speaking about Muffin, where if we listen to certain criticisms and decide to not show the consequences of certain actions and only focus on the good behaviors, you aren't curbing bad behavior, you're just not acknowledging it. It's still there, you're just being ignorant to it. Not only this, but the problem I have with Nickelodeon singling out this episode in particular is that if you're gonna include Ice Spice, who I think is a little overhated, not only in your marketing, but the movie itself, which by the way, I know these actions are 5 years apart, but it's not like Nickelodeon is gonna unban this episode anytime soon. Knowing the image that she doesn't hide at all and the lyrics that she has in her songs, whatever reason you have to excuse that morally should apply to this episode too. And this isn't me saying that you shouldn't have musical artists who have made explicit songs participate in children's media, but it is to say that there should be some nuance in the discussion as a whole, because if not, then if this is inappropriate for children, then she is inappropriate for children, which Nickelodeon clearly doesn't agree with, but that's the thing. Mid-Life Crustacean is going to make less money this season, this year, than Ice Spice marketing the 4th SpongeBob movie. So we get to the core of what all of this is about. It's just about looking cool for money. Nickelodeon wanted to look cool in front of the moral audience, advertisers, and shareholders, the latter two who may practice concern trolling, so they nuked the episode. Nickelodeon also wants to look cool to Gen Z, so they hired a celebrity popular with some of them to bring in more eyes on the movie. If this episode should teach anyone anything, the person or company that's trying so hard to be cool to so many different people makes you look uncool in the long run. You know what's cool? Checking out this video of a cool new SpongeBob episode that isn't banned by clicking on this video here.